Hey everyone, here with Scott Warden, GM of Logitech Business. Scott, how are you?
I am great. How are you doing, Evan?
I'm great. You must be tired because you've had a busy week.
Yeah, a lot of late nights. Yesterday we started like 4 in the morning, but I'm on a high because I think we had an excellent day yesterday.
You had an excellent day, and there's a lot of new stuff, new news to cover, new products, new software and hardware solutions. So, why don't we dive right in for those who didn't manage to attend the big announcement yesterday? Bring us up to speed on your new focus on hybrid work and pretty innovative hardware and software solutions that include a lot of bleeding edge, cutting edge functionality.
Yeah, so yesterday we really announced four new things or four things. So one was we had previously talked about in October about having this center of the room AI-based camera that basically would work in a multi-camera view. So when you looked at the front, you looked at the center, it would always capture the conversation. And we said that it's in beta, it's starting to be manufactured and close to shipping in the coming weeks. The second major thing we announced is a new video conferencing bar called Rallybar Huddle, really designed from the ground up to work for smaller rooms. Part of what we did is it's a much more powerful product, both in terms of processing and audio and recycled and sustainability, recycled plastics, but it's at a fraction of the price, about 60% of our current product, Rallybar Mini. So we think it's going to be priced to move for every room. So super excited about that. The analogy I give is it's kind of like the Model S Tesla to Model 3. Model
Nice.
3 did not have more features than the Model S, but it was really designed to go mass market and mainstream. And I think that was kind of our goal here with Rallybar Huddle. And then we announced our participation in a whole new category in flexible desks. And we announced two new products. So one is LogiDock Flex. So it's
Mhm.
basically a dock for flexible desks, hot desking hoteling. And we see it as one of the biggest problems out there in the new world where people are going away from permanent desks to ones that they share. And current solutions just, aren't that great. So we built this built from the ground up piece of hardware that you come in and not only plug in with a single cable, start your meetings with click to join, but also it works with standard hot desking services like Microsoft Teams, Zoom, and we'll add others, et cetera. And then we actually added our own service, which is kind of, I think, new and different for Logitech. So we have our own hot desking service that both works with this Flex product, but it also works standalone. So you don't even need Logitech hardware, and it's free. It's completely free forever for the end user functionality. So we're expecting a whole bunch of people to use it and download it for people who just want some booking system that may or may not want our hardware. I think we can talk about that because I think it's different and probably disruptive. I hope it's disruptive.
Yeah, so there's a lot there to unpack. So let's take a 30,000 foot view. What's happening with the move to remote work? A lot of companies are taking a forced approach back to the office. Others are taking a hybrid approach. It's kind of chaotic, and there's a lot of uncertainty and change and disruption happening out there in the business landscape. So, how did you see these products sort of fitting in this current world where almost every company has a different policy, and there are no single set of best practices for any company, any industry, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the one thing that seems to be somewhat certain is people are coalescing around this idea of splitting difference. Hey, it's not 5 days a week in the office. It's not zero. So it'll be 2 or 3, average of 2.5. That seems to be kind of the consensus around the world of where people are going. Some are 4, some are 1, but somewhere around that. So it seems like a lot of people are starting to agree on that. What we don't agree on is, all right, when I'm in an office, what the hell am I doing there? And I think there's this idea of going back to the office as if things are completely different. But I think we know that just like when radio went to TV and people just sat there and they read as if they were still on TV, there's an opportunity to do things differently when you have people spread out along the world. And I think among a lot of people, I would criticize them is they just want to go back to the way it was because it was comfortable for them. So I think part of what we see customers struggling with is a couple of things. One is, how do you even organize your office? Like,
Mm.
should it just be everyone having permanent rows of desks, or do you do it differently? Now, our view is, most of the permanent desks should probably be eliminated and moving more to collaboration spaces, because the idea is why go into an office if you're just sitting by yourself on a video meeting? You should really go in for the collaboration. So some of this, and then the second thing is, and I think this is primarily true of the US, but other places, in some cases, return to office doesn't make any sense either if you don't live near an office, where are you returning to? Or maybe you live near an office, but most of the people that you work with are not there. So, all right, great. You return to the office, you're there 2 days a week, and you're on Teams meetings all day by yourself. So there are a lot of people who are going to do that and go, we call it commuter's regret. You'll do it a few days, and after a while, you're like, nah, I'm going back home. So we find many companies struggling with how do you make it interesting for people to go there. So one of the things we've thought about is, well, one of the reasons why you're going to go is if the people you're going to work with will be there. So when you look at our desk booking solution, one of the important elements is almost what we call a social network for the office, and that you really want to see who's there. You want to invite people, and if you can't do that, booking a desk is irrelevant if no one around you is who you want to work with. So that was a pretty big component, which again, I think is, for people who know Logitech as a mice and keyboard company, it's a pretty big departure from where we were, an exciting one, I would add.
Oh, I love that. And you talk a lot about making small room meetings more inclusive via Rallybar Huddle. So what does that mean exactly? It's intriguing.
Well, I think one of the things that most of us observed for the pandemic is that when we were all at home, you have, like we have here, you have our box, it surrounds you, and it's easy to see people. Ironically, you can have a free built-in webcam, and it's better than $100,000 device.
Right.
What's happening now is we're moving back to a world where you're going to have, some people will be in an office, in a conference room, and then some people will be at home. And the irony is that the experience of the remote people is, in some cases, not that good, and maybe even worse than it was during the pandemic. So how do we make it, good for people to go into the office and vice versa? So part of what we've been doing is using AI and some cases a multiple camera approach to be able to pull people's faces out and get the right shot. So in Rallybar Huddle, we use things like grid view and intelligent camera framing on Teams. So you can have 4 people sitting around a room, but you actually pull their faces out so you can see them as if they were at home. So you get the best of both worlds. Now, when you go to larger rooms, it doesn't quite work as well. So what we've added is this secondary camera that's in the middle of the room. So sometimes people are looking forward, and you have, current solutions like an ear camera, right? And then sometimes you have a front of room camera. It can be great, but when people turn to look at each other, you got the back of the head camera. So I think our answer is, it's not in the front and it's not in the center. It's actually both. And what you need is kind of like, think about watching a sporting event. You got multiple cameras, you got a smart director moving things around. So we're kind of taking a play out of big sports or Hollywood and saying, you need multiple cameras that always give you the best view. And that's kind of what we've done with Rallybar Huddle and Site.
That's fantastic. You also talk a lot about the IT challenge, mainly a personnel challenge. How do you get these IT folks, who are increasingly tasked with doing more with less, to kind of, manage at a very granular level these rooms, understand how they're used over time, and provide support. And you focused a lot on that with this new product release, isn't that right?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a big difference between having 1 or 3 conference rooms and hundreds or thousands. So a lot of our work has been, how do you do this without having a Captain Video with a cape, sitting outside of every room, ready to come in and fix your, crushed on system or something that is, could be robust but very complicated. And so we really relentlessly focus on simplification, ease of management, ease of updates, and also quite frankly, just making the user interface easy enough for an end user that they don't need to call in for IT. They can kind of do it themselves. And then the other part is, we increasingly hear from IT is that there are all these opinions about, all right, how should the office be laid out? But a lot of times it's someone's opinion. And, one jokes I use is, CEO comes in one day and goes, yay, she goes, this is really exciting. There's so many people here. And then the CFO comes in another day and goes, this place is empty. No one's using the office. Now, what we want to do is move beyond those opinions and start giving real data and insights so we know what people are using, what they're not. Today, there really aren't any great solutions for doing that. So we want to contribute our part to that with this new flexible desk approach, but also a lot of sensors and analysis.
Well, that's pretty interesting, and I think there are a lot of customization options from what I've seen in the demo, different settings, and that are relevant for maybe healthcare, which might not be relevant for education. How do you cover so many different industries and use cases with one suite of products?
Well, I think part of what is great about Logitech is that we know how to make lots of different products with different choices,
Hmm.
even things like different colors. And we're taking that skill that I think we developed in the consumer space and we're applying it in the B2B space. And then if you look at most of the B2B space today, you can have any color as long as it's black, kind of the Henry Ford model. And we're finding is there either people on the end user side who want to express themselves, but we've also found it's the groundswell of businesses saying, you know what, for my conference rooms, I've got code names or characters or city streets, and what if I could customize them in that way? Wouldn't that be cool? And of course, they want to do it in a way that's easy and cost effective. I think we've kind of cracked the code to do that. And then there are some verticals like either education or healthcare where you may want to wipe these things down from, medical obvious kids getting their hands all over everything. And you can't do that with the approach we've taken or others we have cloth. So, but how do you do that where you don't destroy the video, the audio? So I think we've done that in a way that both is scalable, but also, allows people or companies to kind of express themselves in different ways, which I think is unique and cool.
Very nice. Very cool indeed. So Logitech's notoriously a Swiss company where sustainability and recycling is paramount. So you've actually made these products with a significant amount of recycled plastic. So that's a nice move.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think Rallybar has our most recycled plastics ever. I think it's up to 42%. Site, I'm not sure. I think it's something equivalent to it. And we just think that we need to do our part to be a leader in sustainability. And kind of what I said yesterday when we did our sessions. It's not something where we're just doing a business case. We just said we need to be a leader in this space. We're just going to go out and do it. We didn't do a business case to say, all right, what should the be? We just said, what's the max that we can do? And we're going to continue to push the envelope and also, share some of that information with others, even if we'd love for our competitors to do it too, because if they do it, then we're all better off.
Great stuff. So I was going to suggest after this week, after this launch, you might take a week or two off, but of course, no rest for the weary. You've got Infocom coming up.
Yeah.
This is what, maybe you're a decade going to Infocom or more,
More.
probably. Okay. What are you looking forward to beyond obviously meeting customers, partners? You have all your channels there. Of course, I guess it's going to be a lot of education on the new solutions and the new approach to hybrid work.
I mean, the main thing for me, other than catching up with old friends and customers, et cetera, some of these concepts are new. Like we recognize that in this flexible desk world, that we don't have all the answers. I think we've gotten some initial feedback from customers under NDA, but now that our solution's fully out, I think it gives us an opportunity to just get an order of magnitude more data and feedback about what people like, what they don't like. How do you message this? So I part of, for me, the most fun thing about going to these shows is learning. And I think it's the best way to learn versus reading something or being in an academic way where you get out there in the world and you roll up your sleeves and talk to people. In fact, one of the things I love doing is I love being in the booth and giving demos. And I don't tell people I'm the GM of the group. And, people tell you incredible things that, that you wouldn't know otherwise from people who may give you more filtered information.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. It's Undercover Boss. I think that's a TV show that's always fun.
Yeah, that's my version of Undercover Boss.
So, just back to the announcement here. What's the timeline? I see you taking pre-orders, but you must have a pretty aggressive ramp up regime and probably lots of supply chains that you've all ironed out, ready to go.
Yeah, so we're at the end of the beta process. I'd say the hardware's done. We're mainly validating that the software works, getting them certified by Microsoft, Zoom, et cetera. And our plan is to roughly start shipping it. We're making it now, so probably I think we said like July. We said summer, but I think July is when for most people in the world they'll start being able to get their hands on these products for Rallybar Huddle. And then Logitech Dock Flex will be, I think, later in the summer into the fall.
That's so exciting.
And then on the service, we're taking people signing up now, but I think in the next week or two, we'll open it up where people can start using it. And obviously, because it's a cloud service, it's a lot easier to distribute it. So I think because it's free and unlimited, I'm
So
expecting,
free, not
I don't know
freemium.
what's
You're
going to happen.
literally giving it away. So
Free
you're
forever for the end user features. I think when you say these things, if you don't say that, then people are like, well, what's the catch? And
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's kind of like Logitech Sync, free
yeah.
forever. And then we will eventually have some advanced features, on the back end side that we will charge for. But even that right now is going to be free. I think we said through July of 2024. So it gives people enough certainty that they can go out and try it without knowing there's no bait and switch kind of move on our behalf.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for the update. I'll let you get back to the grind. I know you have some more interviews and press ahead of you. Have a great Infocom, and thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for checking out the video, and meet Scott at Infocom. I'm sure he'd be delighted to meet. Take care, Scott.
Thank you, everybody.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Evan.